Welcome back to the GM Podcast. I'm Miller, and today we are giving you guys a recap of championship weekend. Not necessarily a recap, but, some narratives that came off of the weekend. And first, I want to talk about the Super Bowl matchup that's happening. Rematch, Eagles and Chiefs. And let's appreciate this matchup. I'm an Eagles fan, so it's easier for me to say this is a good matchup. But I know people don't want to see either one of these teams. Obviously, the Eagles, the fan base drives a lot of people away, including me. Couldn't care. Tomorrow won't care. Next week won't care. But obviously the fan base does drive people away, and the Chiefs have just been winning. So, yes, it is a boring matchup, but the narratives in this matchup are exciting. Obviously, the Chiefs going for a three-peat, and I stated this in my last episode. If you lose to get your three-peat, you got to repeat that cycle, and that just won't happen. It won't, because it's too hard to win in this league. We got Jalen Hurts trying to win. He has that underdog mentality going against the greatest of all time. Obviously, some people would say Tom Brady, but I'm already giving that to Mahomes because I wouldn't want any other quarterback on my team if I was to build. So that is my criteria. And man, we got a historic running back in the Super Bowl, one of the best in my opinion, the best running back season that I've ever seen. So, man, I am excited. I do have the Eagles winning in this one. And if the Chiefs, I'll give you guys a little bit of a preview. I think the Eagles do win this one based off of the Chiefs' past games. Obviously, I picked the Bills to win last week, and I was wrong. I was so extremely wrong, and I was mad at myself right after the game for even picking against Mahomes in the first place. But I feel differently, obviously, that it's my Eagles now. The fact that our roster is as stacked as it is, our defense literally looks like the Legion of Boom out there, and I'm not even making this up. I swear, if we had a nickname to this defense, then there would be no discussion, but we just don't have a cool nickname. And I don't know if there will ever be a cooler nickname than the Legion of Boom. But that's how our defense is playing right now. Forcing turnovers left and right. I think we're plus 10 in the turnover margin. We're not turning the ball over. Jalen Hurts just had one of his best games of the season. Maybe his best game of the season. A.J. Brown finally starting to get involved in the offense. We got Smitty involved in some of the run plays. This team should beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, they should, but it's Kansas City, so there is no guarantees. But yeah, let's appreciate this matchup, because I know people are, let's boycott the Super Bowl. Let's not watch this thing, man. We were rooting for both teams to lose, guys. You don't get a lot of stories like this. A rematch of the Super Bowl for a guy to get his first three-peat, which would be the first time in NFL history. They've already gotten it. He's already gotten his team to this is the closest anyone has ever been already. I think nobody who has went back-to-back has got to the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. So it's already an accomplishment for the Kansas City Chiefs, but the Eagles are going to win this game. There's no discussion. But let's move on. And we're going to talk about the Commanders and Eagles game. And some of the reason that I like to wait to film is to gather information about where people's minds are after the game, where if they change up, if they switch up on teams. And this is what frustrates me. Narratives are just abandoned extremely quick. The entire year, I did hear that Jalen Hurts was not showing consistency from the pocket, and when the time came, he would be the reason that this team lost. They said that he was the weak link. I'm not making any of this up. I'm speaking complete factual evidence right now. It happened on First Things First. It happened on the show with Shady McCoy. I forgot what that guy's name was. I think Chase Daniel. And it's just ridiculous at this point. And after this game, this is what I hear. Well, we knew he could do it. We just needed to see it. Like, he wasn't doing it in the regular season. So, guys, the Kansas City Chiefs did not score 30 points the entire season. I think they scored 30 against the Browns, but the entire season, they were not scoring 30 points. Let's put that into perspective. Patrick Mahomes' stats, if you look at them, at best, are back 10 of the NFL. But there was no narratives coming out about their regular season. Obviously, they have championship pedigree, yes. But respectfully, if you had doubts about Jalen Hurts coming into this playoff run, which people did, he was coined as the weak link of this football team. Stay on that side. Stay on that side. Because you can't just switch up to now you're like, well, we knew he could do this. I don't want to hear that. Sometimes you know when players are big time and when players are not big time. Jared Goff, he threw up all over himself this playoffs. He did it in the Super Bowl they scored 3 points in the Super Bowl. And I heard all season that guy was better than Jalen Hurts. Justin Herbert, great quarterback. Man, I love Justin Herbert. I have nothing bad to say about Justin Herbert. If you want to have him as your 5th best quarterback, I'm not going to bat an eye. But what I do know is when he gets in these playoff games, he decides to play his worst. And you can say the same thing about Lamar, but everybody already says that about Lamar. There's no reason to go in on Lamar. And Lamar is better than Jalen Hurts. That's not what I'm saying. But stay on that side, bro. And the same thing about the Eagles. This whole season, I heard about, well, they're too noisy. Sirianni is doing way too much. A.J. Brown isn't involved in this offense. The defense was just bad last year. They can't just make that switch. Jalen Hurts can't consistently produce from the pocket. Well, now we're in a Super Bowl. The final 2 teams remaining. And before this playoff run even started, I knew that this team was easily the best team in the NFC. Easily the best team in the NFC. But last week, the amount of people who picked the Commanders and then after the game just say, well, the Eagles had a better football team. So why didn't you pick them in the first place? Because you were a doubter. Stay on that side. I heard the Rams, oh man, they haven't been great all season. But when Matthew Stafford gets into the playoffs, my dog on the podcast, I won't say his name right now because I don't want to slander him, but he picked the Rams to get to the Super Bowl. Stay on that side. Stay on that side. It was right in front of our faces the entire season. Not the entire season. Excuse me. I would say once we played the Cincinnati Bengals, there should have been no doubt about who was going to win this conference. The Detroit Lions, obviously, but that defense was depleted. They had great stands against, guess what? Sam Darnold, who once again, people were loving Sam Darnold this year. This team, man, they're the last undefeated team remaining. They can really make something happen. Guys, it is right in front of you sometimes. When you have 6 years of evidence combatant to one where he is playing good, but he has a legendary coach and maybe the best receiver of the past 15 years, if you wanted to argue that, you definitely could. Obviously Tyreek Hill, Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, Megatron. Well, I wouldn't say he was as good as Megatron, but I take that one back. But come on, man. The stuff is right in front of our faces, and we decide to ignore it because of the noise, because we don't like the Eagles. Come on, bro. I am absolutely tired of people switching up. So I hope everyone who originally chose anybody but the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC, pick the Chiefs. You don't deserve to pick us now. You don't deserve to pick us now. Now, obviously, I'm not speak. I can't speak for every I'm not the ruler of NFL media, but it does get to a point to where people, which is me, were telling everyone what was going to happen. I have clips of me saying it all season, and it's just now the Eagles just had a way better team than the Commanders. When last week, 50% of the shows I was watching was so concerned with Jalen Hurts and his passing in the first 2 playoff games that they went and chose the Commanders. That happened. Let's just not forget that. Okay, I do want to illustrate how much of an underdog this team is, and it's not like the 2017 team, because that 2017 team, it didn't feel like there were stars. Our back end wasn't loaded with stars like there is now. Our running back was above average. Quarterback, we're playing with a backup quarterback. That was an underdog because of who they were, of how they had been depleted on Wentz getting injured. This team here is an underdog because of the noise. So I'm gonna stop talking about that, and I don't even want to talk about any of the stats. I've told y'all everything y'all needed to know the entire season about this team. They're legit, man. They're legit. And the Commanders, once again, they'll be fine. Like, they have the best quarterback in the NFC now. I'm not oblivious to that fact. He's already done as much as Dak Prescott has done. I mean, there's no, and obviously, okay, this is how I'll put it. I think he's the 5th best quarterback in the NFL right now. And if you don't think so because of what he hasn't done, I understand that. But legitimately, who are you taking over Jaden Daniels outside of the top 4 quarterbacks in the NFL? Are you seriously taking anybody over Jaden Daniels? I don't know. Me personally, I'm not taking anybody over Jaden Daniels outside of those 4: Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. That's not even an argument. Okay, just Jaden Daniels is that guy. But something I did wanted to point out is with the trajectory of the Washington Commanders, with all the cap space they have, with the roster, they already got some players on. Their linebackers are good. I don't know how much Bobby Wagner has left in him, but he played good football this season. Frankie Louvu played good football this season. Their front isn't horrible. Their front on either side isn't horrible. And this team is going to be scary in the NFC for the next 12, 15 years. And what I took away from it is I'm trying to think. With the Eagles being how they are right now, they're a young team as well. Are these the best 2 teams in a single division ever? And I went down the list. The Ravens, it feels like, has been good for this entire century. So maybe the Bengals and the Ravens have had their times where they've been great at the same time. The Steelers and Ravens have had times where they have been great at the same time. And then I went to the NFC West, where Seattle and the Rams were playing San Fran for conference championships. So that was also that was an argument as well. But I can see the peak of these 2 teams maybe next year being the best 2 teams in a single division of all time. These 2 teams, I mean, they obviously made the conference championship, but there's a serious argument that they are the 2 best teams in this conference. Washington is only going to get better. Detroit has lost their coordinators. The Rams, Matthew Stafford is getting older. San Fran, you got to pay Brock Purdy at some time. Green Bay, I think, has a chance to. Green Bay is the team that does have a chance to get on that level. Detroit is still there, obviously. That personnel is ridiculous. And Minnesota, we're going to have to see what quarter. They said they love J.J. McCarthy in camp. I'm going to have to see that because I watched him in college and was not satisfied. I didn't see anything special. I mean, maybe you could say he was a winner. Maybe if don't come at, I don't know. But I haven't seen enough yet. And then maybe there's nobody in the NFC South, now that I'm thinking about it, that really is going to ascend to that level. So it's going to be interesting to see, because if the 2 teams in the same, like Dallas is going to be down bad for another 15 years. And it's hilarious, honestly. I'm not even going to say it's sad. It pleases me with every fiber of my being that this team hasn't made a conference championship in 30 years and probably won't make it for 15 more. That absolutely makes me jump with joy. Obviously, I'm not smiling right now, but that is great. I could not ask for more, especially and the Dallas Cowboys. That actually, I'm going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys a little bit after this video, because all the recent coaching news and things of that nature. But let's move on to the AFC Championship. I obviously picked the Bills to win this one, and they almost did. They had a chance. Josh Allen had a chance to win this game. With their final drive, I think they got it with around 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. And where I think this game was lost was coaching. And I don't say that to take away credit from Patrick Mahomes, but it's almost like I think certain people, when they talk about why games were lost, they say Josh Allen didn't make the play. Well, guys, this is what we have to understand, okay? Mahomes isn't going one-on-one with Josh Allen. Mahomes is playing against an NFL defense like Josh Allen is playing against an NFL defense. And the looks that Mahomes was getting in this game were easy. And he made people love to bring up the 2 picks that Josh Allen almost threw in the first possession. Patrick Mahomes threw one of the worst passes I had ever seen, and Xavier Worthy, who was an exciting superstar, just caught it. And the Chiefs, by the way, are going to be better next year, which is scary because they got Rashee Rice coming back. They got Xavier Worthy, who is they've developed their ability to develop receivers is something like I haven't seen. These weren't high-touted, high prospects in the draft. They got Worthy at the back end of the first round, and Rice, I don't even know he was a first-round pick. And then Noah Gray is going to step up. Like, they got guys, and with a stacked running back class this year, what is stopping them from getting a running back at the back of the first round? So, Philly, let's get this done while we're ahead. But back to what I was saying. Coaching is the reason that the Chiefs won this game. That is where the mismatch was. Nowhere else. I thought defensively, the Bills played better than I ever would have imagined. I understand the people that didn't say their offense had a chance to win this game. So I don't want to hear about the defense playing bad. It was the Kansas City Chiefs they were playing against. Sean McDermott, the one thing I will give him is he has low-tier rosters as far as defense playing like top 15 defenses. As a defensive coach, this guy is special. But when we go to that offensive end, and there's 3:30 left in the game, and your first play is a pitch to someone not named James Cook, who is an ascending top 10 running back in football, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I was saying it I was saying it for the whole second half. James Cook has just turned up. James Cook is having a game. In what world do you tell James Cook that he shouldn't be in the game over Ty? This is playoff football. You only have one more game. You are at the Arrowhead Invitational. Play your best guys. What are we saving him for? So that's where they first messed up. And then, obviously, the play. And I don't even want to talk about the play. Josh Allen, first off, the first down he got that for them. And then after that, the first 2 possessions weren't even possible gains. Like Joe Brady versus Steve Spagnuolo was like if MJ played one-on-one with a JV superstar. It just wasn't a close game. That was where the mismatch was. On 3rd and 10, obviously you want to beat the blitz. Yes. And I'm not saying in that receiver room you have great personnel. But a smoke screen to Amari Cooper who is pushing 50? Guys, you have to at least come up with a situation to where that outside guy is maybe Khalil Shakir, maybe Curtis Samuel. Hell, I'd rather have Mac Hollins running after the catch than Amari Cooper right now. I'd rather have Dalton Kincaid running a now with the game in the balance. You have Amari Cooper, who has never been known for his run after catch, catching a screen pass, and yes, they got the 5 yards. Yes. But is that enough against the Kansas City Chiefs? I mean, the scoreboard doesn't say so. The past 4 matchups doesn't say so. I'm not saying so, so I don't think so. That last drive was abysmal. And what I will say is that the coaching in this game wasn't horrible up to that point. Okay? I didn't see the huge mismatch up to that point. What I will say though, the Buffalo Bills never had control in this game. First drive. What are we doing? It's like you guys didn't even practice that week. Were y'all just y'all just chilling in Buffalo? What is there to even do in Buffalo? Y'all was just chilling? And like, They come out first drive and stomp it all the way down the field. I don't know if the defense had one positive play in that first drive. I mean, that's where the mismatch is once again. And for people that don't really understand football on that level, once you get stopped on that first drive and the other team scores, that's the advantage right there. They get the ball at the beginning of the second half. So technically what I'm saying is if this game was tied at halftime, the Chiefs had the advantage regardless. And it wasn't tied at halftime. I forgot how much they were up. They might have been up 5. But the Buffalo Bills never had a shot in this game until they did on that last possession. And the play calling was down here compared to Steve Spagnuolo's, which was up here, or however you say his name. I'm tired of that guy because he's great at his job. Hopefully he doesn't do Kellen Moore like that. And Kellen Moore probably had his best game that I've seen. I mean, 55 points. That says all it needs to say. That as far as play calling. So hopefully he doesn't look that outmatched versus Steve Spagnuolo, but it was bad. It was bad how they was in this game. And like I said, the Chiefs controlled this game the entire time. And I'm thinking, down 3 Bills, y'all just gotta stop. You can't ask for nothing more than what your defense just did for you. This Buffalo defense did have timely stops. And once again, their personnel on that side is so. DeMar Hamlin is definitely a football player. Backup corner he definitely plays football. Their back end they're definitely football players. That's what I will give them. But Sean McDermott had them playing to a level to where they look like capable NFL players, especially in a playoff game. And they did their jobs. And what the travesty is for me is when you look ahead to next season, it's tough because it wasn't your defense that lost you a game. It was Josh Allen in the offense, and it wasn't Josh Allen. Do you get somebody better than Joe Brady? I don't know, because once again, I'm not saying Joe Brady is a bad coach. I think he has this team playing better offense than it ever has. I'm not even a big fan of their weapons on the outside. I mean, if Josh Allen doesn't make one of the best throws I've seen this season to Mac Hollins, this game might be done after the first half. But you have a superhero that can save you like that, and now you have a top 10 back that next year is going to be one of the best. So they're obviously going to run this thing back because, I mean, you already got your quarterback. There's nothing else to do. But it's tough, man. Mentally, it is tough. It is tough. And now where we are at in the AFC is Kansas City has beat Cincinnati, Baltimore, Buffalo, Houston, Miami, the Steelers. The Jets have never made it, but if they were to make it, who beats them now? We better hope that T. Higgins goes to the LA Chargers, because if not, like I said, Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice are coming back. They might go to 4 straight Super Bowls. They might go to 4 straight. Let me say that one more time. In 2025, where the salary cap exists, where free agents exist, where coaching hires exist, and coaches are moved all over the place, except for that team, obviously, because their DC is comfortable being a DC, and their head coach is probably the best play caller of all time. Oh my gosh. It honestly makes me sick. I would hate to be a fan of a team in the AFC. Because at least with Philly, I mean, like if you're a team in the NFC, Philly doesn't have that track record of winning every single NFC championship game, and they have won the last 3, but like getting to every Super Bowl. At least San Fran has been in it. The Rams have been in it. Like, if you're a team you have to be demoralized as a fan of any AFC team. At this point, it is like watching the season doesn't even matter. And obviously, You care about getting in the playoffs, yes. But if you're a Baltimore fan, do you give a damn? Buffalo, do you care? It's impressive because we said this was the most talented Baltimore team and the best version of Buffalo, and they lost. And where this started was, Ravens. You play around with the Raiders and you play around with the Browns. If you had just if Lamar Jackson makes a throw in week 1 and you don't play around with those two teams and get one more, man, it makes me sad for any team in that conference. And what I will say is this is why I love football so much at the same time. Because, man, it's like it was a chess. Football is a literal chess game, but crazy variables. Anything can happen at any point. Anybody can make a play at any point. If they're in the right position, they can make a play. And that's what's so beautiful about this game. It's a literal chess game. It's the most mental sport you will ever play. But at the same time, these players are having freedom to make plays. And at the end of the day, Kansas City made more plays than Buffalo did. And I'm not even going to talk about the Kincaid drop because obviously, first off, they shouldn't even have been in that position. And that wasn't an easy catch. He's running a corner route. And I know it hit his hands. So I'm not saying he shouldn't have caught it, but he's having to turn around, adjust to a moon ball, a fair catch, a punt, and catch it. Punt returners muff it all the time. That's the hardest job in football is catching a punt, especially when guys are running at you, and that's basically what he had to do. Let's not get Dalton Kincaid and Mark Andrews put in the same conversation. That wasn't the same thing. But yeah, once again, I would hate to be a team in the AFC, but yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough. It's demoralizing. But I will touch on that Dallas thing that I was talking about. I wasn't even going to do this before the episode, but I should now. So they obviously hired Brian Schottenheimer as their head coach, which he has never been a head coach, and Jerry Jones is officially off his rocker. I'm not even going to hold my words here. He has just lost it. I think it might be like he mentally, his brain does not work in a positive human way. Like it's the wrong. Like it's just wrong. He is just wrong every time he says something. Just wrong. Like you are in your press conference and you're gonna call the coach that you just hired a risk. You are going to praise yourself for being a risk taker and call this man a risk. Now, we all know he was a risk. We all knew that. But you had to point it out. And low-key, there's a word I wanted to use right there. Let's just say you pooped on the guy. That's how I'll say it. You pooped on the guy. And, man, like, how does he feel? And he just went for it, too. Like, and that tells me everything I need to know about where they will be going. I saw his face when Jerry Jones said that, and he's just like, are you telling me if Mike Vrabel was on that desk and Jerry Jones said, I know I took a risk, Mike Vrabel wouldn't take his right hand and finish that man's 89-year career on earth? Like, it was just disrespectful. It was disrespectful. And they hired Matt Eberflus today. And I think as a DC, Matt Eberflus can be great. And I'm not mad at that hire at all. But you did just get the biggest joke of a head coach in the past 5 years, maybe other than Adam Gase. And now he's on your football squad. So now you have a coach that doesn't care that you called him a risk, and another coach who is a laughingstock, and all your money is in two players. And now you have the third best quarterback in the division, the worst coach in the division, and we just expect it to get better. And we're still paying guys, and we're still expecting to win with an unwinnable roster. Yo, y'all Cowboys. Hey, man, I am so blessed that I was never even I never had a chance to be a Cowboys fan. I thank my father 100% for making me an Eagles fan and not even giving me the ability to choose, because I know I wouldn't have chosen the Cowboys. It wasn't my destiny. But if I had to choose if there was just a situation on this earth and a circumstance where I saw freaking Des Bryant make a play and throw up the X, and I was like, oh man, that's really cool, I want to be a Cow, that I would be distraught. I wouldn't be the man I am today. And I actually feel, I start feeling bad now. I got so many friends that are Cowboys fans, and at this point they don't even care. Like, they know what it is. There was a point to where at least they were winning games and we could troll them. Like they could actually talk and it would be fun when they lost. Now when they lose, it's like, well, yeah. I mean, were y'all gonna win? No, y'all, like, it's just it's not built to win. And you keep your OC, who was not calling plays. Mike McCarthy was calling plays, and you let Mike McCarthy walk, and you didn't have a hire in mind. He is deranged, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I hope he continues doing this for the rest of my days. For the rest of my days, because he will make it that much easier on my birds. But that's all I got. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, go Birds. And yeah, thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace out.